Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Two Sons Podcast. I'm your co-host, Philip, and we are back today with another very exciting episode where we are going to be reviewing and talking about the recent Disney Plus series, The Bad Batch, more specifically season three that has been ongoing for a couple of weeks now. So, welcome back, guys. It's been a couple of days since we last spoke. So obviously last week I put out an episode on episodes 11 and 12 of season three of The Bad Batch, where I basically just kind of gave my review, went over some of the positives and the negatives, excuse me, that, I found with the episode. And today is definitely going to be a much shorter episode because we only really have one episode to talk about. Obviously, episode 13 came out this past Wednesday. So I will probably go into a little bit more detail about the episode and kind of give you like a brief synopsis when it comes to it. But other than that, it's going to be a nice laid back, kick back episode of your one and only Two Sons podcast. So, hopefully you guys enjoy another discussion about Star Wars. So before we get into that, I just want to thank you guys for all the love and support once again. You guys have been really helpful on YouTube, especially with the most recent short that I posted about last episode. I got a lot of views, so I really appreciate that. And the video itself is doing pretty well. My brother just posted the video to Spotify the other day, and he announced it on all the socials. So if you are a Spotify viewer or listener, it is available now for you guys to watch. If not, it is on YouTube as well. So just again, thank you guys for all the love and support. Really do appreciate it. I did get a comment on one of the shorts, but I had to delete it just because it was just some stupid person like just hiding behind like a no picture no name account basically just calling me a virgin for like talking about Star Wars. And it's like, well, there's one or two things. Obviously, one, you're a keyboard warrior, so obviously, there's going to be the occasional trolls. And two, it must have came across your YouTube Shorts anyway, because obviously, you are, looking at the hashtags for like Star Wars and stuff like that. So, whatever. I don't really care. I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, you're going to get those type of people that troll you or whatever, but I don't let it take me down. So I mean, out of what 400 and something views, I mean, it was only one person that commented that, so that's a pretty good ratio. So, you just gotta let those things slide off your back and move on. So, but you know what? It's reactions and commentation anyway. So thank you for your comment. um, but yeah, but again, just thank you guys for all the love and support. We really do appreciate it. If you're wondering why it's been me these last 2 weeks, to be honest, it's just because my brother is a very busy person. Obviously adulthood has its ups and downs, and you have your periods where you're just super busy, go go go, and then you have your periods where it's nice and slow, and you kind of go with the flow. And I mean, thankfully, as I knock on my wood, my wooden desk, we're kind of reversed right now. He's really go go go, and thankfully everything is falling into place. So, I have more of a slower, life down here in Florida. So I'm more than welcome to put out videos for you guys. I mean, I know he appreciates it, and you guys love coming out each week to listen. So I think going forward until me and him could reconvene again and join and do an episode together. Even though I am recording on Friday, which is April 19th. This episode is going to be coming out Monday because I think what I want to do is I want to start releasing the episodes for you guys Monday. So you basically could start your week with Two Sons Podcast and you have the whole entire week to listen to these videos. So let me know if you guys prefer that. Usually we would just release them on Friday, and I feel like it's kind of like the tail end of the week. So I feel like maybe people would rather have something to look forward to, something to listen to the whole week. So I'm going to see if we can start shifting our, oh, excuse me, allergies. I'm going to see if we can start shifting our release dates to Monday. Just for you guys to start off with something fresh for the week. So, like I said, let me know if you guys want to see that. But if not, as you're hearing the sound of my voice, it will be Monday, the 22nd. Yeah, the 22nd, I think, if I did that math right. Yeah. So yeah, so happy Monday, guys. Hopefully your week is off to a good start, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the week. Now, getting into simply how we're doing, well, I'm happy to announce that there have been a couple of changes in my life recently. For those of you that know, I'm currently going to the University of South Florida for a master's program in counseling education to become a school counselor. However, after some soul searching and a lot of thinking and just kind of trusting my own intuition and my own gut, I have decided to withdraw from that program and start applying to different colleges and programs in the hopes of achieving a master's degree in history, which is, one of my underlying passions. It's what I got my bachelor's degree in, and I've just loved it my whole entire life. So I'm hoping to achieve that, and I'm more than welcome to announce that I recently got accepted into Southern New Hampshire University, which is a online university, and I'm going for a master's degree in history there with a concentration in military history. So I am extremely excited. I'll have a couple of months until I start. So I'm super excited about that. Give me time to work and just kind of lay back and get everything in order. And honestly, I'm really excited to start in October. It's going to be great. But yeah, so thankfully, on the academic side, that's going pretty well. Of course, there's a couple of other pieces that are falling into place, which is really nice. Thankfully, thank myself, and just everything around me that I'm in good health and good spirits. And work-wise, is going really good. I just got a raise recently, which is always appreciated, and I'm getting another raise come in May, so that's again always appreciated. So this weekend I'm just gonna kick back, relax, go visit my dad and watch some hockey because the NHL playoffs start this weekend. So if you're from New York, you got both the Rangers and the Islanders to root for. The Rangers play this weekend, and the Islanders play tomorrow, actually. So both teams play this weekend. And if you're from Florida, like myself, you both got Tampa Bay and Florida. Unfortunately, they're playing each other. I'm more of a Florida fan versus a Tampa Bay fan, so I'm obviously going to be rooting for the Panthers. But honestly, I would be okay with whatever team moved on because a Florida team's a Florida team. Same with New York. So good luck to all your respective teams. Let me know down in the comments below who you are supporting. And yeah, so without that being said, let's get right into the video, guys. So originally I was going to do something where I was going to show you like the episode in the background as I just kind of talked over it. Um, if I have more time and I don't have a lot of stuff to do, I might experiment with that. Like if I have a whole day off and I have all the time in the world, I might experiment with that as a way to do the episodes, just because I think that would be cool, and I don't think I'd get copyrighted for that because it would just be the video that I'm showing, but it would be my audio. So if you guys want to see something like that, again, down in the comments, just let me know. I think that'd be really cool. The only thing is that I just don't know how good quality it would be because we've looked at trailers and stuff before on the channel and on the podcast, and they've been kind of choppy. So I just don't know how good it would come out. So I'm a little afraid to like sit here for like 30-35 minutes and talk and then just have it be like choppy, choppy, choppy. But like I said, when I have more free time, I'll play around with it and see what's going on. So yeah, so let me know if you guys want to do that. But again, I just decided to kind of take it easy and just doing the traditional style recording today for the episode. So speaking of the episode, let's get right into it. So as I mentioned last week, we talked about episodes 11 and 12 of season 3 of The Bad Batch, and this last Wednesday we had episode 13 come out. And honestly, right off the bat, I'm gonna give it a solid 10 out of 10 suns. I thought this episode was absolutely phenomenal. I think they're definitely going in the right direction when it comes to the rest of the season. And I mean, keep in mind, guys, I mean, there's only a couple of episodes left, so we're pretty much almost done. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I think they're going in a really good direction. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what they do for the rest of the show. So granted, obviously this is going to be a little bit of a slower, shorter episode because there's only one thing to talk about, and I could easily just talk about what I liked and disliked in 5 minutes and then call it a day. So it will probably be a little bit of a shorter episode for you guys. Um, but in the spirit of that, let me just get into a little bit about the episode. So obviously, giving you an overall synopsis of the episode. The episode opens up with the does it I don't know who it opens up with, but we're gonna go with the fact that it opens up with the Bad Batch. So obviously in episode 12, they recently broke the vice admiral of the Galactic Empire out of the Imperial prison planet. Because according to them, he knows how to get to Mount Tantus, right? Or, we find out in episode 12 that he doesn't know exactly how to get to Mount Tantus, but he knows of a way to find out how to get to Mount Tantus, basically. So the episode basically opens up with the Bad Batch trying to hatch this new plan, this newfound information from their prisoner. And basically what they find out is that they find out that there is a floating space station above Coruscant. And it's where multiple shuttles and ships are constantly coming in and out of. And there are scientific and medical ships that depart from that space station and go directly to Mount Tantus. And there's like a super intricate and like specific way on like how they get the coordinates sent to them. Like apparently like it's not like, just on the ship. Like they have to like go through all like, the pre hyperspace jump like procedures, and then they get like the coordinates transmitted to them, and that's when, they're able to do the jump. So it's very last minute. So apparently there's this like super specific way on how to get the coordinates from Mount Tantus. And with this in mind, the Bad Batch come up with this plan to take themselves and the Vice Admiral, go undercover, put the Vice Admiral back in an Imperial uniform, and see if they could break into the station and board a ship, get the coordinates, and call it a day. So this scene was actually really cool because this was very reminiscent of like, kind of OG Bad Batch, right? Like this is like a mission that you would expect them to go on during the Clone Wars, obviously like post Clone Wars, like in like season 1 and 2, and it just felt very at home, which I appreciated. Obviously, the new designs. I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to get their coloring and their paint back on their armor. I'm sure they will, but they basically washed off, or they basically just scanned off all of their paint. So now they all just have these like really like sleek, all black, clone armor, and it looks really good. I mean, like, they look like a bunch of like badasses, honestly, like, supporting this vice admiral. So they do a really good job of showing that. So that obviously off the bat, that's one of the pluses I have for the episode. I think the character design is really well done. Sorry, I heard a bird. So obviously, we see that they kind of hash this plan, and then I think that's when it pivots away to Omega, and we see that obviously she is currently being held prisoner at Mount Tantus in the little facility where her and the other Force sensitive children are currently residing. And every day they're simply just having their vitals taken, or they're having samples of blood taken every single day, and they're like completing these like puzzles, or like these like mind games to basically just keep them like sharp and alert and stuff like that. And right away, we obviously see that Omega is like up to her old tricks, and she is already planning an escape. Like she is getting ready to escape, and do basically what she does best. So depending on what route they go, this is going to be like either a positive or a negative for me, because they have the perfect opportunity to kind of play on this whole like childhood naivety thing that they've been doing with her this whole season, where, she's not really paying for her actions, she's getting constantly bailed out, she doesn't seem to understand the gravity of the situation, and I don't think she's maturing as fast as she should be with somebody in her position. So they have the perfect opportunity to make that happen if it's a failed escape attempt, right? Because not only is she putting herself in risk, in jeopardy, but she's also putting the lives of other children at risk. So this is the perfect opportunity for them to show that, what, she just can't get away with everything. Her consequences have actions, and maybe she does need the Bad Batch to come save her because she can't do it herself. However, the way that Disney's been going lately and their emphasis on certain characters, I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a piece of cake for her and she's able to escape with all the other children, because just why not? And honestly, that is going to be a very negative thing that is going to stick with me for the end of the show. Like, when we do like our whole like show wrap up and basically like, talk about everything. Um, so I'm a little on the fence about that. I like how they continue to show the facility though. Showing the relationship, between the children building. Obviously, like, they all have the same situation going on, so they're more likely to bond together. And then obviously you see the relationship with the students when it comes to Dr. Carr, and obviously the other doctors and scientists that are watching. You really see the divide between Dr. Carr, who like actually sees them as people and like cares about them, and then you have like one of her assistants that just sees them as specimens and test subjects and doesn't even see them as like living beings. So you really see the divide, even in like basically every work thing of the empire, right? I mean, you have that, xenophobia, or, that like superiority complex, like from everyday scientists and researchers to vice admirals and grand moffs, right? So I really like what they did with that. That was pretty cool. And you gotta admit, like, watching Omega, like, be a little confident and like, trying to rescue others, like it feels good. I mean, you're like, yeah, like, go kick some ass. Like, this will be pretty exciting. Um, and again, like, this is where like it gets a little tricky because like I, say that, but then again, it's like, well, it's like if she's able to escape, it's like, what was the whole point of her getting captured anyway? Because it's like again, like, this really what I want to happen is that I want us to see in episode 14 that she fails her escape attempt. and like she has to rely on the Bad Batch or somebody else to help her, because that would be a perfect culmination of like all these like naive choices that she's been making throughout the whole season, and then it finally comes to bite her in the butt, and then I think that would be the perfect segue, kind of. So we'll see if they do that or not. I don't know if they will, but we'll have to wait and see. Um, yeah, and then I think from there the episode just kind of goes back to the Bad Batch and the Vice Admiral as they are slowly approaching the station, and obviously we see a reoccurring Bad Batch member and just everybody's favorite clone Echo come back, and he is joining the Bad Batch for their heist onto the Imperial space station, and acquiring these coordinates and whatnot, because obviously it is essential for Echo and Captain Rex, along with the other clones, that they find the coordinates of Mount Tantus as well. So always nice to see him back in action once again, because I like Echo. I think sometimes flies under the radar. He's a little underrated, but I love him. He's great. Um, so again, you see them, finally going to infiltrate, the Imperial space station or whatever, and obviously we see, the Vice Admiral, put on a uniform and kind of get right back into like, what it feels like to have authority in a position of power. And we see that he's able to use that power, to persuade the other Imperials that, he's basically a captain, and this is his personal bodyguard. And they're able to make their way through the Imperial space station relatively unscathed, to be honest. But it is cool, to see again, the continuing transition, from the post-Republic era to the early Imperial era, right? You see more stormtroopers, on this Imperial space station versus clone troopers. Um, you see just how like everything is set up and everything. You start to see like more Imperial looking shuttles and whatnot. So you're seeing like a slow but sure, change over from like, post Clone Wars to, the Galactic Empire that we all know and love. um, but yeah, they have the occasional mouse droid in the hallway, which I think is always an iconic Star Wars scene, to be honest. When it when it comes to just any project, if you got a crowded hallway, you got to have a mouse droid. That's just the way it works. Um, but we see that they are able to successfully get to basically some sort of control center, like basically where like Echo could hack into the computers and basically try to find the coordinates for Mount Tantus. And again, we see this Vice Admiral become pretty important, at least to this mission, where he's able to use his influence to like persuade stormtroopers and other Imperial officers to like just do his bidding and like basically get out of the way. And we see them successfully enter this room. And this is the part where Echo and the rest of the Bad Batch realize that um, way to get the coordinates for Mount Tantus is not as simple as they thought, and they can't just get it from the computer. They actually have to be aboard the ship and get it from the ship as it's being transmitted, in order to get the actual coordinates. So conveniently, obviously, the Vice Admiral left this out, but not really to blame him too much, whether or not he's lying or telling the truth. He claims that he didn't know that that was actually the way it operates, so that's why he didn't tell them. So obviously you see this is where the Bad Batch kind of devise a plan. And you see kind of Hunter, maintain that leadership role. I mean, I don't think his leadership role was ever in question, when it came to season three or the previous seasons. But again, it just felt like a very Bad Batch episode, right? Because you have him at the helm, just basically commanding all the other members to do, what they're best at. So he tasks Echo with, sneaking aboard the scientific ship and accessing their computer to, I think, basically cut their sensors and allow them to like get the coordinates. Because I think he comes up with the plan of being able to latch onto the ship itself. So basically, they're going to take their shuttle and they're going to latch it onto the bottom of this scientific vessel without being detected, and they're just going to be sent to Mount Tantus along with this shuttle. Um, so they devised that plan. So obviously, we see Echo go off on like his little solo mission, and we see the rest of the Bad Batch basically make their way back to the shuttle. And we see a nice little comedic scene with Wrecker when the Imperial officer comes back, and he's obviously on to them because he's like, huh, he's like, I don't see your shuttle here for scheduled, visit and arrival and whatnot. And then Wrecker just, simply leads him into the ship to have a look for himself. And next thing you know, he's knocked out. So just kind of a classic Wrecker moment where I do agree with my boss a little bit, where he definitely did become more like the comedic relief of the show. Like he's not like demolitions, like explosives expert that we know and love. Like he's just the big teddy bear, the comedic relief, the one that loves Omega and just, is, the punchline of the show. So I think at this moment, I think this is, they might pivot either before or after this. But this is where we pivot back to Omega because obviously we see that after getting to know the other kids, held in the facility for a while and kind of understanding like, the routine and regimen and how it works, she devises a plan for them to escape. And she basically wants to find out where these medical droids, come in and out of the walls and where they send like, the different blood samples and vitals. Um, because, if they could access these tunnels, it might be a way from there for them to escape the facility. So obviously we see her like hatch this plan where she steals like a medical tool from Dr. Carr, and basically she wants kind of like the other children to distract the other scientists while she slips away back into her room to try to like undo this hatch. And obviously you got like the nail biting like anxiety like close encounter because obviously as Omega's trying to do this one of the doctors of course gets suspicious and decides to go check out the facility. So as she's walking down to the facility, we see like Omega like tinkering with the thing, and then she's dropping things, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then obviously as the scientist walks into her room, Omega's just sitting there on the bed playing with her little tablet thing. So we see that she was able to kind of get away with it unscathed, of course. But we see that she found a way to like access the wall. And that's pretty much like all we see like for the rest of the episode when it comes to Omega. She basically figured out how to access the wall. They make it seem like she understands like where these tunnels lead to. So I don't know if she literally went up in the wall or she just looked up there and she's like, oh, so that's where it goes. Um, but regardless, she seems to be pretty confident and it seems like she's hatching some sort of plan for her and the children to escape. And again, this is where it's going to segue with episode 14 and what they decide to do. And like I said, I really do think that they should like make her fail and kind of suffer her consequences to kind of like broaden her character arc, right? To try to like get rid of that child naivety and like learn to like trust others and like mature more and like realize like this is not just about her, this is about like, the people around her. They would have a really good opportunity to do that. But like I said, the way Disney operates, who knows, right? So that's basically all we get with Omega. So I mean, I think when it came to like Omega's story, this side of the episode, I think it was pretty good. None of it really bothered me, to be honest. I mean, if anything, she is more of like a symbol of hope now, to the children in the facility. But then again, I hate to, want somebody to fail so bad, but again, having these children become confident in her and like trust her, and then if they get captured and they get punished like they're not going to want to ever talk to her, speak to her ever again. So it's like again, like these are the perfect moments for them to do that. But we'll see what happens. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed Omega story in this episode. I thought it was pretty well done. And we'll see what happens in next week. So the rest of the episode basically just focuses on the Bad Batch themselves, as Echo is like slowly but surely making his way onto the ship. And it's really interesting how he does that, because I don't really remember him being as stealthy as he was. But he's able to move, between the shipments and the crates and whatever, and basically go undetected. And he finds that a way for him to board the ship without being like scanned or, have anything look abnormal is that when the astromechs and the droids like want to board the ship, they basically have this like tube that comes down and basically sucks them up into the ship. So he basically has this great idea of like activating one of those, going through that tunnel, and boarding the ship that way. So he's almost caught by a clone commando, but thankfully he's able to stay hidden, and he is ultimately successful in boarding this scientific ship. So on the other hand, obviously, you have the rest of the Bad Batch return to their shuttle as they're awaiting basically Echo's command, pretty much. And obviously, this is more of like a nail biting, part of the episode, as obviously, like the timeline is running short. Like the scientific ship already left the station and is like prepping itself for hyperspace travel. And they're a little suspicious because they sense like an anomaly in the ship and they go to check it out and then like Echo's in trouble. But he's able to subdue one of the stormtroopers that comes to check on him and he gets back to work. But then you have like Hunter like waiting patiently, and then obviously like everybody around him is like abort the mission, especially the vice admiral's like we're gonna have no time, like don't risk it. And I think the whole thing was just beautifully shot because it was like literally the definition of perfect timing. And Echo got the sensor down just in time for Hunter to land the shuttle on the bottom of the ship. And the episode basically ends with them going into hyperspace, and you just kind of like left on a cliffhanger, and you're like, okay, like now what? Um, so that was basically like a brief summary of the episode. So I mean, really getting into it, when it comes to the positives and negatives, I mean, again, there's really not too much to highlight in this one episode. I mean, like I said, I did enjoy Omega's side of the story. I do like how she becomes like a beacon of hope. She is positive. That she could help these other children and like, they could escape. But then again, depending on what route they go, this could easily turn into a negative because I think that she should have an episode where she learns, the definition of being naive, and feeling untouchable. And she needs to fail, and she needs to mature more, as this story goes on, because that's just the way it is. Um, I think, this is kind of a callback to, like I said, one of those episodes where, this is the Bad Batch, right? Like, this is the, elite clone trooper squadron that has like, their special talents. They're able to infiltrate, they're able to do this and that. And, I felt that in this episode. I felt that in the last two episodes. I mean, I think it's going really good. They're continuing on in a good direction, and I'm really excited for the rest of the show. But really, I mean, I don't have any specific points to cover, really. I mean, with positives and negatives. I mean, like I said, really, I guess the only 2 points I would cover would be, I guess in a gray area, it's more like Omega's story and the direction that they're going in. And then more of a positive, it's, the Bad Batch and like, their return to, the ragtag, team of defects that we know and love. So I didn't really think there was anything negative with this episode. I enjoyed it through and through. I thought the pacing was great. The animation style and everything looked fantastic. So I didn't mind anything. I didn't really find anything wrong to make noteworthy, to be honest. Um, but with that being said, guys, I mean that's pretty much going to be it. I mean, I don't really have anything else. I don't really want to drown on and keep repeating myself or whatever, just to lengthen the episode. But that is basically a quick rundown and overview of episode 13 of season 3 of The Bad Batch. So like I said, I touched upon a few points. I would love to know in the comments what you guys thought about this episode. Maybe something that I missed, that I could consider. And yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, I thought it was a solid 10 out of 10. I thought it was a great episode. It will be definitely an interesting conversation next week when we get into episode 14 to see exactly what happens. Um, but yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you've been thinking of the season so far. Where you think the show is going. How are they going to wrap it up, right? Because I mean, I think May 1st is the final episode, so we're not that far away. We're only a couple of weeks away. So let me know how you guys think it's going to wrap up. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts about it. But once again, thank you guys for coming out to another wonderful episode of Two Sons Podcast, where we talked about episode 13 of season 3 of The Bad Batch. So if you're wondering where you can find this wonderful episode and be notified when this wonderful episode comes out, we are currently on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, all under Two Sons Podcast. That's with an O, not a U, because we are two brothers. The TikTok is Two Sons YouTube, but I'm pretty sure if you looked up Two Sons, you'd probably be able to find it either way. So again, that's with an O, not a U, because we're two brothers. So look for those us on those platforms. Where like I post on the TikTok and my brother will post on all the others. Just to let you guys know when an episode dropped. Anything up and coming. Just to keep you guys up to date on what's going on with Two Sons Podcast. If you want to find us to actually hear my voice and enjoy my company, or watch me visually on the computer and again listen to us, and look at us pretty much. We are both on YouTube and Spotify, also under Two Sons Podcast. Again, that's with an O, not a U, because I got it. We are two brothers. So yeah, find us on those. Like I said, I am going to send everything to my brother today. I'm gonna try to, tell him to just, post this, to release on Monday. Like I said, I'm going to set this to release on Monday, so you guys will have a nice another episode to listen to start your week off. And yeah, just keep track of those socials to stay up to date. Let you know when the episode dropped. Leave your comments and thoughts down below on any of the platforms. We'd love to hear from you guys and see what's going on with you guys. And once again, just thank you for all the love and support that you've shown us so far in 2024 and these past couple of weeks. We really appreciate it. I mean, I myself, love doing it, and my brother loves doing it. So we just love talking about Star Wars. Obviously, this year has been very Star Wars heavy. But there's a couple of things that I would love to do on the side. Obviously, the new Fallout series came out on Amazon Prime is absolutely phenomenal. I would love to sit here and like do videos on the Fallout show if you guys would be interested in that. We also have a couple of other shows coming out in the summer. Like we have Rings of Power season 2 coming out. If you guys want me to talk about that. We also have House of the Dragon season 2 coming out. So there's a lot of good content going into the summer. But there's also a lot of good Star Wars content coming into the summer. Obviously, we have Tales of the Empire. We have Acolyte. So we're gonna have a lot of good shows to cover all throughout the year. So let us know down below what you guys want to see and want to hear. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, just a great day in general whenever you're listening to this. Like I said, check those socials, for the video to release, and let us know what you think down below in the comments. But again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for coming out to another episode of Two Sons Podcast. Please be safe. Do not do anything stupid. Stay hydrated because that's important. And because it is a Star Wars episode, I will leave you all with a may the Force be with you all. Goodbye for now, guys.